Top 5 under $50. Let's go. Starting at number 5, I can't believe I'm actually saying this, but it's the CCA Trio from your favorite company, of course, KZ Acoustics. Now, you guys already know how I feel about KZ. Their marketing tactics and all the silent retunes are straight up disgusting, but I gotta give credit where credit's due. When I first saw the initial marketing material for the legendary 3DD IEM, I was like, alright, I gotta buy this and review it. And TLDR, the overall sound of the Trio is very similar to the variations or like diffuse field like tunings. It's got a mid-bass scoop, your typical ear gain and treble extension. Basically, it's a bunch of variations with less air, not as smooth and resolving. It's got 4 switches and a lot of combinations, but the switch only really changes the amount of low end, and a lot of the configurations graph the same or like it doesn't change anything. So if you're wondering why I don't have all the combinations listed, that's why. KZ really needs to stop with all these switches. I mean, they're doing it for marketing, but come on. The Trio is a mid-volume set as it does get shouty at higher volumes, although the scaling does get better with all the switches off, which gives it a nice bassy and warm sound. For the price of $39, even if I am super biased against KZ, I gotta hand it to them for this one. It's a well-tuned set with decent technical performance, and most importantly, the price is very good. Very good value. Now, I'm not sure if all the dynamic drivers are actually doing anything because KZ has been caught in the past using BAs that just don't work or don't do anything. But for the most part, they don't blow my mind like the serials did, or like doesn't sound as good as a serial, which is also a 3 dynamic driver set. I just want to make it very clear, I'm not telling you guys to go buy it and support KZ, but you know, I realize not everyone has the money to get similar like the Nova, which is, you know, 3 times the price of the Trio. If you have the money, still get the Nova because it's just a better IEM all around, and you're supporting a company that's, you know, actually quote unquote decent or as decent as they can get in this business. But circumstances are different for everyone. If you really want a diffuse field, you know, variations like tuning around the same price, then the Critical Red is still, you know, still a decent set. It's a safer set, a little bit boring in my opinion because of like the smoother treble. It doesn't have that sweetness and shine like the Trio because the upper mids are not as, you know, extended or boosted like the Trio, but hey, at least it's not KZ. Then at number 4, we have the 7Hz Sonus. Yes, it's still decent even now. Pretty much a dinosaur by Sci-Fi standards. And you can actually get it for around $38 right now on sale, which is pretty nuts. So if you want something clean, balanced, but with a better triple extension than the Red, then the Sonus would still be the benchmark for like a neutral, harmonious set at this price. Very solid layering and resolution. On the other hand, if you wanted something more energetic, less boring or vanilla, you know, more detail and brightness to the notes, then the RD T10 at number 3 is the best value IEM just in terms of pure technical performance. I mean, it's $50 right now. What more do I need to say than that? It was already a steal at $70, but now it's actually like even cheaper. You're getting close to blessing 3 levels of performance for like 6 times cheaper, which is bonkers. Now, the timbre isn't the most natural. It has that light sizzly feeling from the planar, you know, a little slight V-shaped sound. But if you're into brighter signatures and you don't care, you know, for the lighter no wave perhaps, then these are a no-brainer. More detailed and engaging than the Sonus, the Red, and the Trio, and they're just a very solid IEM all around for the price of $50, especially given how, you know, technical or resolving they are. Although if you're willing to sacrifice some resolution from the T10 for just better note weight, better timbre, and, you know, heavier low-end texture, better low-end texture, then we have the EW200, which, you know, surprise is not number 1 anymore. You know, at least for me, I have a new favorite, but more on that later. I already talked about the EW200 enough, so I won't get too much into it. It's a very engaging set, a slight Harman V shape, has a good driver in it, and solid build and accessories on top. Overall, you know, just a very great all-rounder that isn't boring like the Sonus. It punches above its price point in terms of technical performance, single-handedly killing the Araya 2 and making many IEMs just obsolete, as well as just, you know, upping the bar for what a $40 IEM can do, and, you know, the whole packaging and everything as well. But with all that said, some people found them slightly bright and they don't scale too well at higher volumes. I think mid-volume they're perfect, but sometimes, you know, you just have that itch that you want to scratch. As for some bass headsets, the new QKZ HBB Hades collab is looking like a bass head monster. It's not out yet, but I already know it's gonna slap. I mean, just look at the bass. It's most likely going to be a direct upgrade to the KBA Rosfinch, so bass heads, keep your eyes out for the Hades. On the other hand, if you want something warm and bassy, not quite bass head levels of bass, then the RD-R1 is my pick around $50. It's a slight upgrade from the QKZ HBB. It has a better driver, the vocals are a little bit more clear and detailed, but overall they sound very similar. But finally, at the number 1 spot, my new favorite IEM under $50 is the RD R2, which is basically the EW200 but less bright, scales better, comes with a beryllium driver, and you know, scratches that itch for me when it comes to just like cranking it up in terms of volume. Compared to the EW200, the R2 is less energetic, you know, it's smoother with beautiful timbre, very natural, vocals are sweet and open, no low end bleed, solid amount of treble extension as well, not super airy obviously, but you know, it does the job, although they do need more juice and power to drive compared to the EW200. The R2 is pretty much IEF neutral with a bass boost and a better critical red in my opinion, not as engaging as the EW200, but it's easier on the ears while not sounding completely vanilla or like soft. So it sits nicely in between the EW200 and the Sonus when it comes to the overall engagement and you know, the fun factor, you know, striking a nice balance in terms of the sound. And it reminds me of like a budget mini Tantrum Origin, but just not as clean and resolving. If you listen at mid volume, the EW200 is still going to be better in my opinion. It just sounds livelier, more engaging and fun. But if you listen louder like me, or you know, you're sensitive in the upper mids and you like a smoother sound, then the R2 would be the better match in that scenario. Either way, you can't go wrong with one or the other. Both are one of the best IEMs under $50. Very similar in resolution and all that, but you know, just different flavors for different folks. So yeah, I hope this guy was helpful. Thanks for watching guys, and I'll see everyone in the next one.